welcome to Catholic Current, where we give you an update on events affecting the Church in the United States. From Washington, D.C., I'm Maura Moser. The bishops of the United States have formed the Institute on the Catechism to respond to the changing catechetical landscape. Bishop Frank Caggiano is chairman of the Subcommittee on the Catechism. We spoke with him about the future of formation.
I'm talking about the Institute on the Catechism. Would you give a little bit of background on how the Institute developed?
Certainly. The Institute is an exciting new initiative that's being sponsored by the Subcommittee of the Catechism in conjunction with our parent committee, which is the Committee for Evangelization and Catechesis. And what it really is a national collaboration among bishops, diocesan staff, and publishers to ask the question, how do we implement the vision of the new directory on catechesis? And we have coined the phrase, evangelizing catechesis. So if I could put it to you this way, Maura, it would be formation in the faith is more than the classroom. It's a way of life. And that's ultimately what we want to learn from each other, how we could reinvigorate that incubator of faith, if I could call it that. Right.
So this is really an innovative approach. It seeks to have catechesis in a digital age. What are some of the ways that the Institute will go about that?
Well, first and foremost, we need to articulate the vision and have good people, lots of them, think about it. How do you operationalize this? Remember, the Church has published many documents, many sweeping statements, but the devil's, if I could say, is in the details. I mean, to operationalize it is in the details. And the way I'm going to do it in Bridgeport is different than San Antonio. It's different than, Michigan. It's going to be different than Puerto Rico. So we have to get everyone on the same page in the vision, right? So what does it mean to pass on the faith, really, in the 21st century? And how do we do that effectively? So it has to involve adults, parents in particular. It has to involve technology, as you indicated. It has to recreate community for young people. They need companionship. They need safe places to ask their questions. Friendships. They have to learn the truth, have to be exposed to beauty, have to understand virtue, have to be challenged to goodness. All of those elements are what we're talking about.
We'll share more about this initiative as it develops. The death toll following earthquakes in southeast Turkey and northern Syria has now risen to more than 50,000 people. Many more remain without housing and in need. We spoke with Msgr. Peter Vaccari, the president of the Catholic Near East Welfare Association, about the relief efforts underway in Syria and Turkey and why this part of the world is so important to our faith. What can people do to help? People who are watching right now and want to help, what can they do?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Maura, for that. Both in Syria and in Turkey, those people who maybe are thinking about what they can do, that they be aware, these are among the earliest places where the church began. It was in Turkey, in Antioch, Acts chapter 11, verse 26, where the disciples are first called Christians. Now that is a devastated Turkish town lying under the rubble after the earthquake. We can speak in terms of Syria, the early Christian church, as it grew in Syria and throughout that area of the Middle East. They are really giving support to us, working with other church members, to people who are in desperate need. Final note that I'll add, yes, C.N.E.W.A is always working with the local church, the nuncio, the bishops, lay leadership, women and men who are religious women and the men that are involved in that. We always work with all of them. We never work in isolation. However, we do not limit the aid we give to Christians. We give to everyone because we're Christians. But there is no limitation and there is no checklist that we keep before we're going to give the kinds of material that right now people desperately need in light of the earthquake they've suffered. Our contacts are church contacts, and through them, everyone, regardless of faith, denomination, or anything else, everyone is going to be served, but going to be served in, I think, appropriate and proper ways where the aid can get to the people without any other, let me say, outside public interference.
You can visit C.N.E.W.A.org to learn more and support relief efforts. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Catholic Current. I'm Maura Moser. See you next week.